Darkcast Network. Out of the shadows comes the best of indie podcasts.
Welcome to the J Squared Horror Podcast, where two lifelong horror fans talk all things horror. Pour yourself your favorite drink and hang out. Here are your hosts, Josh and Jake.
Hey guys, welcome to the J Squared Horror Podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jake.
And on today's episode, we are going to be discussing
2022's Hell Van, directed by Jorge De La Rosa.
Yes. So I know there's a majority of our fan base who has never fucking heard of this movie. But we're covering it because we met these gentlemen. We met the director. We met a couple of the actors from this movie at the Tidewater Horror Convention that we just had last weekend. That was a complete blast. So this episode is going to be part Hell Van and part convention talk. We're super excited to get into all of that here in a second. But before we do, what would we like to let anyone new to our podcast know, Jake?
As always, like and subscribe on YouTube.
Pretty, please.
You can also find us on Spotify.
We're on there.
We're on Apple.
We are.
Even Google.
We are.
And also Instagram. J Squared Horror Podcast. Link tree in the bio. New episodes every Thursday.
Every single Thursday, two lifelong horror fans decide to get together and talk all things horror. Now, with this podcast, we are not an information-based podcast. No. We are a communication-based podcast. What we are two friends that like to get together once a week, have some drinks, and talk all things horror. With this podcast, we would like to include a lot of our fans. So if you guys have any submission ideas or if you want to be on the show or anything of that nature, please go to www.jsquaredhorrorpodcast.com. You can submit something right there. You can let us know how you felt about any of our episodes on there. That would be super great. We are also that's it. I'm not gonna say paranormal. You already know. So yeah, make sure to check us out on our website. If you have any ideas, just go ahead and submit them. We'll be glad to do them. So yeah, man, Hell Van from 2022, directed by Jorge himself. Jorge is an awesome guy. He was a pleasure to meet with and chat with all weekend long, have some drinks with.
He's a shit ton of fun.
He is a fucking blast, man. You can see it on this movie. So the tagline of Hell Van is "Hell has no cruise control." So this movie is exactly what I expected and kind of wanted out of this movie. How are you feeling about it?
I 100% agree.
Sweet.
And like mentioned before, it met expectations. Yeah. 100%.
So we have the ability and the awesome privilege of having met the gentlemen that are part of this movie, which we've never done before. It's surreal as fuck.
It was crazy to meet them and watch them.
Yeah. So
days later.
imagine meeting people, them sharing a product with you, and them asking you, hey, you guys have a podcast. If we'd ever, be something you'd want to cover, please do. And not even 5 days later, they will be able to listen to our episode on their movie. This podcast is meant to grow and support as many smaller people, local people, awesome people that we can through our platform, and maybe we can get the same through theirs. So we are super excited to talk about this movie. I will say this, right? Bits of it, slight slow burn.
So you said that to me yesterday.
Slight. Yeah.
So I was expecting a slow burn.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't feel that way at all.
At all?
At all. Nice. To me, as soon as it started, I felt like I was engaged.
Good.
And I was in it.
Good.
I think, like I said, I was expecting slow burn. I got the exact opposite.
You were watching it. Do you watch today?
Yeah.
Okay.
So something was always happening, I felt.
Yes. Like. I mean, they definitely did a good job of that. They definitely kept it. I guess I was slightly tired because I just, we had just done the convention all, till Sunday night. And then
Monday,
I watched it last night. and I'd already started some football, so it was pretty late when I started it. But, at the time, that's how I felt. That's why I shot you the warning. But maybe with my warning and what we're used to as slow burns, you were kind of able to decipher it a little bit better than I did that night. But this movie is, in its own sense, it definitely belongs in the horror world. But also, it does some things that do not piss me off at all.
Like what?
So I'm a big person, and if you guys go back to like episode, I don't know, 4, we covered 5. We covered this other local. It was a lot more local than this. We covered another smaller film where the concept was good. Some of the parts were good, but there are so many other parts that really pissed us off. This movie, the practical work that they did in this movie, for being a movie that is completely, I'm pretty sure, self-budgeted, blew my mind, because the only CG in it was towards the end in one part that I can remember.
Yeah, so the kills I fully enjoyed.
Dude, the kills just gave you everything 80s nostalgia you needed.
So 2 I liked the most. One was, the first one was the guy Cash.
Yeah, Cash.
Who shot himself.
Wasn't the first kill, but
Well, first like the main important people, I feel like.
Burning a church full of children was pretty
main
bad.
important people.
Yes, his was great.
Speaking of that, real quick, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, dude. This movie definitely does not. It's definitely a horror film, and I'm pretty sure it's not rated for a reason. I don't know if it's just because they didn't want to go through the hoopla of doing that, but they mentioned so many things throughout this movie that you can then either pick up on or like catch later, which I fucking love. That is one of my favorite things in all of cinema. But yeah, they mentioned that the church is having this sleepover for a donation thing so that they can do some renovations, and like 15 kids get burned to death in a church. Oh, and they're just like, you hear like kids screams and windows hitting the wall, and it was all practical.
Begging for help and come get us. Like, damn, dude.
Rough, but good.
Anyway, when he kills himself, when it shoots back to him after he shot himself, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Also, the progression of I think it was a tow truck driver.
Oh, yeah, the tow truck driver's makeup.
So the thing is, I missed it somehow. I don't know. I think what made it more enjoyable for me, I don't know why anything was happening.
I don't either. Like,
so it wasn't just me then.
No.
Okay, dude.
No, like in those scenes in particular. So you knew Cash, the guy driving the van, who had the van, why he would have turned. At first, I was like, oh, maybe it's the radio station. Maybe it was like this lady that continually talked and continually was on the radio station. But then later on, you find out that's not the case.
Nothing to do with
they're
it.
just listening to it another place, right? But when the tow truck driver, he doesn't get in the vehicle. He barely touches the vehicle. And you notice, because they zoom in on his hand as he's getting underneath the truck to unhook his safety metal fucking hooks. That was I was focusing on it because it seemed like, well, why is this so like dramatized? Like, why does this seem like it's something? Maybe he just touched the underside. Maybe it was like the hot exhaust.
I saw it
could have just burned, but he had a blister or a spot on his hand when somebody was talking to him and he wasn't feeling. When it
was like white around his eyes a little bit.
When the salvage yard guy was talking to him before he pulled out, he's like, I'm not fucking feeling good. But yeah, his progression was great. I loved that they were able to. I think the dogs were great. I know a lot of times dogs in movies are tricky. Or I would imagine they are. So I don't applaud to you guys for making Rottweilers even scarier than they normally are.
Dogs were good.
The dogs were good. That scene was cool because they turned on the owner, and then I liked that they probably just had like a treat right next to his neck.
Yeah,
and it looked like the fucking Rottweiler was fucking him up. Yeah,
going at it.
It was so great, and I loved the transition of scenes. So you didn't have to catch the dogs like actually chasing him down and like waste all the money on like having a stunt coordinator and all that stuff. Pull that shit off. But when they go red eye, like old school horror.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
And it's just so simple, but it's so fucking amazing.
So that's what I was going to mention when it came to the editing.
Yeah.
Of the movie. Yeah. A movie of this, I guess, level.
Yeah.
You would expect shitty editing.
You would expect a choppy ass movie at best.
It was very good, and it looked good. It was shot very well.
It was shot very well,
Yeah.
looked good. The acting was good. I want to mention this because this is something we love about movies. The commentary throughout this movie, the dialogue throughout this movie is fucking amazing.
It is
I was
humorous as well.
cackling. I was laughing. I loved certain characters and didn't like other characters. So it wasn't wasted on like story building. No, that's fucked up. I don't mean that, guys. Don't
No.
Don't focus on. It wasn't focused on like past shit. All it focused on was what was going on in this movie, but you knew almost enough about each character just to get by.
Yeah, it wasn't super detailed
No.
character building.
I don't like that. Not for a movie of this caliber.
I do not give a fuck.
I don't
about
either.
that. Only one, I guess, character I didn't really care for was the ex-priest.
I loved him.
Yeah.
No, I loved him.
Didn't care. I feel
He had
like
a whole arc.
what was his arc?
He tried to save the day.
Meh.
He was a drunk priest that quit because the church was touching little boys.
Yeah, they were doing, Yeah, his character I could have done without, honestly, but
Yeah. Also, I want to know what is up. Like, do you think they were shouting out a friend's business, saying that those biscuits were so, or was that just like a tongue twister that they tried to pull off? You remember like one of the opening scenes?
yeah, the very first scene
Whether he
gives him
pulls
the
up on the
sandwich.
bicycle
Yeah.
and he hands him a sandwich and he's like something biscuit, and I was
Yeah,
like
it was like some type of baked breakfast brisket
biscuit,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
He was
And I
like,
was wondering if
"See
it was
that-
just like
see that five
if it
times
was
fast."
if it was just like dialogue struggle for the actor to try to pull off because that was Jorge that did that.
It looked like Jorge bit into that fucking biscuit.
Yeah, it was like
They was like, I gotta fucking chew this.
just woo.
Because when you just watch it, he bites into it, and it's a long scene him just like chewing it.
Yeah. Maybe it was a delicious biscuit from their area. I don't know. It was Midway, Texas, is where the movie was themed.
Population of
60 something.
I think so. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and also, everything. You don't know what era necessarily this movie's in either, which is something we mentioned on Cobweb that we enjoyed
True.
a lot.
And I love
'Cause the
movies like
vehicles
that.
the vehicles were all old, but then the people were dressed kind of nice. But also, you didn't have. I think there was like payphone usage
You
and
don't
like
see,
super
cell
old radio
phones.
equipment and
Yeah.
stuff.
I love that.
I like when it's not super modern focused and you can
Because that
enjoy
way
it for what it is.
never gets dated.
No, it doesn't get dated.
Yeah.
Gives you Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes for fucking sure. Also, I love that, like, usually we joke about like horror towns only having like 2 cops, but they had like 30 and like they were all homies and they like really like it was like that small town vibe.
Yeah, that was good.
That I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah,
like
I did enjoy that.
1,000%.
Everyone knew everybody. People were married to people they worked with.
Yeah, it was very small
it was
town
good.
vibe,
Yeah.
and the little bit that they would plug in here or there about some dramas between each character wasn't overly done. It was a nice touch, nice little cherry on top. Like you find out that one sheriff is fucking another guy's girl, and it's cool, man. It's not cool, but it's
Which
done
was-
well because
Out of nowhere. Also, a kill I enjoyed was when she killed her dude.
in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene after she shot him, him just leaning over, everything just pouring out, and it looked
And then
good.
you see like the gook behind him.
Yeah, it looked
It's just
good.
like
And the toilet's been shot out.
Yeah,
It was good.
there were very few things that I mean, I guess if you're like a super horror snob of like this highbrow bullshit that a lot of people like, not that that's necessarily bullshit, but if you cannot watch this movie and enjoy it for exactly what it is, you are a problem. And I mean that with the utmost respect.
Doesn't sound like it.
No, because these guys, you can tell that these guys are passionate about horror and are passionate about putting out a good product. And you get that through this movie if you just take away from it that it's not a fucking high-budgeted movie. It's a low-budgeted movie that people got together and they did and they perfected very well.
What's crazy, I was talking to someone this morning
Uh-huh.
about horror movies in general.
Yeah.
And that's it. 2 things I don't need is a lot of character development,
Yes.
or honestly, I don't need Oscar-worthy acting performances. I need good kills.
Yes.
I need good effects.
Yes.
And I need a good paced movie.
Pacing is becoming way... Maybe it's because we're getting old and our attention
Yeah, it could
spans are
be.
fucking
Yeah.
shot. But, dude, Pacing is important.
This gave me all 3.
it did.
I feel like.
And what's crazy is just checking... This movie checks so many boxes for us personally. We watched it separately, which is something we like to do now. So we don't kind of fuck up the episode. because it's so hard not to watch a movie and not talk about it right then and there.
Yeah, if
like
you're
in
sitting watching
theater,
it, yeah.
it's fine because like we know that that's going to be a newer movie and not many people know about that movie. It's tricky doing it with this because unless you guys go to the slowmutants.com or one of their websites to buy this, it's going to be tricky for you guys to watch this. And this is the first time I think ever on the podcast that we have something that you can't actually watch on something simply. Now, if you guys are interested, you better go support our newly made friends and buy a copy. We got DVDs. We didn't even do Blu-ray. I like the cover more on the DVD is why I ultimately pulled the trigger on the DVD. Also, it looked better with the signatures because we got signed copies of this bad boy, which we were super stoked on.
And what's crazy is he had mentioned at one point, talking to someone, just giving them away.
Yeah.
Dude, sell that shit.
No, sell it.
Sell it.
Because you guys deserve the recognition and the respect that should come with being who you guys are, where you guys are in
100%.
in your movie making process. Now, it was a busy weekend because we went there as vendors, so it's not like one of those things where we can sit there and talk for hours. We can't, we got to keep it moving. We got to get to our tables. We got to do our thing. But the times that we got to talk with them were super cool. And actually, it's ironic because one of the guys that signed our DVD was the guy with the musician guy with the gray hair and the braids who was in this movie. He's my favorite character in this movie. I don't know why, but the dialogue between those three homies is like my favorite because they're outside of the gas station when the girl goes on the murder rampage. They have the hilarious scene in the fucking cemetery later on.
Yeah.
His kill is one of my favorites for obvious reasons. I'm a huge zombie fan.
Yeah.
I'm a huge George A. Romero fan.
Yeah.
And everything they did in that scene with his old camera recording him being killed versus like it being in the movie, it was just so cool.
My favorite kill
great.
was probably...
That is my favorite.
Actually, it's not even a kill, actually. My favorite character was the sheriff or deputy, whoever, who gouged his eyes out.
Yeah, at first
I was feeling his vibe the entire time.
he had the sunglasses on most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Unfortunately, I don't remember his name. I don't think it's one of the guys we got to meet. But I know we met Cash, we met the guy with the braids, and we obviously met Jorge. But
Well, what I loved about it most is him gouging his eyes out didn't kill him.
no, it did not kill him because that's not usually a kill-worthy thing unless you're getting impaled.
And that's the craziest thing because a lot of times, like you can, like in 20 Days Later,
Yes.
he gouged his eyes. That killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between pressure gouging and pulling. Because it's going into the brain if you push, whereas if you're pulling it out.
But you're just fucking pulling it random. You could fucking
Yeah,
pull
you can
anything
pull
out
out some
and
stuff.
bleed to death. But anyway,
It also looked really cool. Like that was one of the like I said, practical in this movie was just insane.
it did look good.
It looked good. Believable, but then his crazy scenes, like his acting throughout
It's
this
good,
movie
yeah.
was very good. He was like kind of a side character, then he goes on his own little thing, kind of becomes like this, ooh, could he become a main character?
Yeah.
And then he hurts himself and gets into the insane asylum, and it's amazing. You got the blood behind the thing. He's acting super crazy, but in a respectable, like believable crazy,
He's not
not
over
just
the
like
top
eating
crazy.
soap, like or
Yeah.
like eating bed sheets
Yeah,
crazy.
he's not
Like
over
he
the
was
top.
just like, what I saw fucked me up, and that's why I pulled my eyeballs out. Now, good luck, because the world's gonna end.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, dude. And they did. I think they tied in. What do you think? Out of all the horror movies that we've either watched or know about, what do you think they were most heavily influenced by? We don't know. We didn't ask them this question, but I'm wondering, off of your knowledge and off of what we got, what do you think their most heavily influenced was?
Heavily influenced. I couldn't even think to guess. What's crazy is, for me, nothing about this movie reminded me really of any other movies.
You took my segue perfectly, buddy.
Yeah, nothing. I didn't see anything. They took from that. I feel like it was just an original idea.
Yeah.
And of course, it's horror. So
There's horror shit in the movie.
if you use anything, there's going to be something you can pull. Like you can say zombie, you can say
That's what I
Night of
said.
the Living Dead,
Yeah,
Return of
George
the
A.
Living- you
Romero.
can say
yeah.
anything.
I already said that, but it wasn't a focal point of the movie.
Yeah, but the actual movie itself,
Yeah,
nothing,
start to finish.
nothing plot wise remind me of anything else.
No.
Yeah.
And I agree.
And we always want original ideas. So this is
That's
a perfect
what I'm saying.
example.
It's crazy to me that like out of the hundreds of people and probably hundreds of vendors, thousands of people maybe even. I mean, there were a lot of people walking through that convention this weekend. And it's our first time in a convention. It's our first time kind of doing the whole vendor hangout, stuff like that. But to meet these guys, to then actually go support these guys, because we did not ask for anything pro bono. We didn't. We went up there as potential fans. They asked us as podcasters to potentially cover this movie. They asked us to be brutally honest. That's why we're here right now. That's why we had mentioned last week that we were going to do Beau is Afraid, which is fine. That movie's not going anywhere. But to immediately follow up the convention, keep our word, and to do something that can maybe get you guys out there to experience some original, smaller budgeted horror you can't miss an opportunity like this. And they were literally some of the coolest guys. They undersold their fucking product, if you ask me.
100%.
Like, you're sitting at a horror convention. There's plenty of people in there. You guys are sitting on a gold mine here. And, of course, like, we didn't know that either. Like, of course, we've seen some shitty movies in our day. And, of course, like, with almost the way they were selling, you were almost anticipating that.
Yeah, I went into it expecting a piece of shit movie.
I did, too. But, hey, Slow Mutants, Jorge, all you guys, like, give yourselves a fucking round of applause.
Yeah.
Because we are cynical assholes who cover some of the best fucking, according to the fans, according to the people, some of the highest rated horror movies out there, and we fucking obliterate it.
I only got 2 complaints.
And you all right? What's your main? What's your main complaint?
Main complaint? You need some big boy sizes in these fucking t-shirts.
Yeah, man, it would have been super cool to have some t-shirts on right now.
Wear them right now.
We could have the fucking logo. I would even rock some Slow Mutant or some the Slow Mutants gear, because I think that's a sweet name. But also just like Hellvan shit. Like, I really wanted that baseball tee, the white on red.
Yeah, we got.
And they're like XL, and I'm like, yeah, that'll fit my left nipple. That's awesome. All right, so what's your second complaint then?
The main sheriff character,
Jorge?
Boring as fuck.
Yeah.
Super fucking boring.
They tried to give him a little bit of a story with this whole dad thing. And then I didn't even realize.
It went nowhere.
I didn't even realize that was his dad.
The guy.
With the beanie on?
The beanie?
The beanie was his dad, because he had the heart attack when he found the van.
I thought his dad was the one who wore the sheriff hat.
No. His dad wore the sheriff beanie hat.
No.
Yeah. His dad's the one that they pulled up on, found later, and he like screams out, no, because he was chopping wood while his dad was trying to solve the problems, because his dad was probably the better sheriff.
Okay, yeah. Point is, the character...
It wasn't portrayed poorly.
It wasn't portrayed poorly.
It wasn't portrayed poorly, but there could have been more.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault.
It wasn't.
The character itself was either written
poorly. Yeah.
Very boring. And it was crazy is like nothing really happened with him.
No.
The best part was the ending when he died.
Which was insane. That was very good.
The makeup looked very good then.
The makeup looked very good. Yeah. His screaming and insanity looked very good. Mind you, we met him. But no, I mean, yeah, there's a couple other things that I think my biggest complaint from this whole movie was the fucking meteorite. I fucking hated it. I don't know why. You did such an amazing movie with all practical shit, and you just had to throw in this fucking CG'd meteorite. And so when I was watching it, and I'm not a very religious person at all, right? But of course, I respect everybody's realm. So when I was watching it, what I was thinking was going to happen was you had the priest praying on the van. You had Jorge sitting in the truck. You had all these zombies coming out of the ground. Everything was getting so fucking like hell is finally taking over. I thought since the priest was praying that meteorite was sent from God and was going to smash the van.
I did too.
And that's how the movie was going to end.
Same thing.
But then it hits Jorge in his truck. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what? Ugh. That doesn't make sense to me. And of course, like, even if you had that crappy, I'm not a CGI expert. It just didn't fit the rest of the movie. And also, like, if that was both of our thought processes, that means one of you guys had an 86 that has an idea potentially. And I feel like that would have been like, so we're not that smart, first of all. But I felt like that would have been a really cool ending to the movie. And of course, if you circle back to when the guy gets out of the insane asylum, the guy that gets decapitated, he does say everyone's going to die at the end. So I knew at that point, that's our foreshadowing for the rest of the movie. Yeah. That all of the characters that you either may have loved or you may have liked were all going to die, which still isn't true because you still had the guy in the insane asylum. You still had the lady in the insane asylum. You know, there were still other characters that made it. So everybody didn't die, but all the main characters died.
Yeah. I think even though the reason why the van has the effect on people, I didn't notice it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it explains it or not. I think you said it didn't.
I don't know. I didn't pick up on it.
So even though it wasn't explained,
as
far as I know, it didn't affect my time watching them. I didn't need to know why it was happening to enjoy
I wasn't sitting there pissed off that I didn't know what they were seeing in the back of the van. But I also love
I like the
cut scenes where it's like, okay, so I get it. Like, we're looking at, like, I don't know if that's what they're envisioning in their heads and that's supposed to make them go psychotic.
I mean, it was always different for every person.
It was different for every person, which made me think that's what I gotta sneeze again. That's what they were seeing.
Just what I thought. So one looked like it was someone who was burnt. It looked like it was someone who was in war. Half their body was gone.
Yeah.
It was always different for every person. One was
they had the one with the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe,
that was the one where he pulled his eyes out, though.
So I'm not sure.
Wasn't it?
If it's like, I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
mentions a burnt.
If it's like unexplained internal traumas they went through. So that was my thought. Because with everyone seeing something different, it can't all be because of one source.
I just thought there were different demons in the van.
It could be that too.
that's where my dumbass brain went. You're all deep and philosophical, and I'm like, different demons.
It could be just different demons. It could be.
But I didn't mind it because, like, a lot of times, like, like I said, if you watch this movie not going into it with the proper mindset, you might see those cutscenes as corny because, like, they do, you know, it is a completely different vibe from the rest of the movie. So, like, you have these great shots, these, you know, very good acting, and then you have these, like, you know, just blank rooms of shit happening. But if you remember the name of the movie, it's called Hell Van. Something, when they open these doors or when they look inside of this van, makes that happen.
The reason why it didn't throw me off, it was the opening credits.
Yeah.
Because the guy's sitting there eating the steak, and then you cut to him again.
Yeah.
Naked, tearing his fucking steak apart.
Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot that.
Having that in mind, when
the naked dude, that's full frontal nudity.
When it happened throughout the movie, it didn't seem weird to me.
Now, did you like the shitty guy that was cheating with the married woman?
Honestly,
how'd you like their those two cops car chase death scene?
Yeah. It was all right.
See, the thing is,
well, no,
like,
okay.
It
so
was
So I did enjoy the whole ball shot thing.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's just such comical 80s.
Yeah,
like, it's good. Just it's like this movie is like it's gives me Evil Dead, you know, original Evil Dead kind of vibes, connotations of like over the top, makeup and blood and stuff. But also like I think you did mention earlier, it's funny, but it's not I don't think it would be considered a horror comedy like Shaun of the Dead. There are just funny parts, and I think they're tension breaks, but they're also a moment for you to legitimately respect writing and acting, because everybody that was delivering those lines in those situations did it very fucking well.
I agree.
So there's a lot of times where it's misconstrued due to the acting. So you'll realize the lines are funny, the situation is funny, but the people doing it are not portraying it well.
Yeah, so for them, it took comedic timing. Him knowing it was supposed to be a funny part, and the way he delivered.
Yes.
The way after he shot himself, you see it spew on his face.
And he's also like kind of confused that he just shot himself in the balls.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I'm going to shoot this mother. It's like, shit. So, the other guy in the driver's seat's like, it's fucking spraying me.
It's random. You don't expect that to happen.
Did he drop a bag of cocaine? Is that what happened before they took off? Was he like, oh, that was my Mexican Coke? Is that what he said? Because it was like, yo, you're cops, and you're trying to do some coke. Like,
they're just fucking small town cops. Who are fucking each other's wives and girlfriends. Yeah, so man. Who knows?
It was just that, you know. And as much as that scene, you know, it's another. I think there were 2 or 3 car chase scenes that I actually didn't mind at all, because they were actually, it looked like they were driving. There's only one part in the movie where it looked like it was like green screenish almost in the background.
What was that?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember one scene. It might have been when Cash was driving in one of those scenes. But also, I feel like they also tried to get like their version of Gale in here.
Oh,
the news reporter.
I thought it was hilarious when she got to the van and she has the fucking camcorder on her shoulder, and she's doing it herself.
She's doing her dialogue and everything. But also, like, I didn't, she got eaten by the van. I take it. Was also expecting, I already saw Dick in this movie. I was expecting to at least catch some
at that
triple
point,
G's.
It was going to snatch off her bra. Too.
Yeah, I did too.
That's
It blew
what
all
I
of her
thought.
clothes off.
Yeah, I thought. Okay.
And I was like, if we've already seen a pecker in the first minute,
we're getting there.
But it was funny because I think they were mentioning at the convention that they got away with showing full frontal nudity in their trailer.
What scene was that?
I think it's the dude with the steak because that's the only full frontal nudity in this movie. I think it's the dude nomming on that raw steak, the old guy with the dick out. That's
really?
Because I didn't want to watch the trailer while we were there.
Yeah,
I kept like trying to look away.
As he was talking, he pointed to it.
But it ended, and I was like, "Fuck, we got to go back to our table."
I didn't look at it,
and I didn't look down. But he was telling the story. But I knew we were going to watch the movie, so I was like, "Oh, maybe I'll catch it."
Thank you for that, Bush. Appreciate that. The beer, the Bush, not yet.
It's like
we're talking about
what Bush? Yeah. You like the man bush that we got to see?
The beer bush?
Hey, you gave Jake a beer. I said I'd like one too, but I didn't get one.
Dude,
so
know what's crazy?
It's cool.
I thought the exact same thing. So
it was like,
I'm
they're like,
around.
You guys want a beer? I'm like, yeah. And Jake's like, yeah.
No, because I said yeah, and you said no at first.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Then you changed it to it. Like, well, fuck this dude.
Yeah.
I'll get
yeah,
him
you
one.
already said no, bro.
Yeah.
That was my favorite character in the movie, too, bro. I was like, damn, I didn't even get a beer from you.
Shutting it down.
Also, I realized that I think, no, I'm not going to say it. They were a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun. And I love that, it's crazy because would never have met these guys if I wasn't at THC this year as a vendor.
What's craziest to me, they're not obviously celebrities, but to me, they're a celebrity. There's someone in a movie that I met.
That did a really good movie,
so
too.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
I am kind of happy that I didn't see this movie before I met them. Not even because of what we already mentioned, but because I probably would have fanboyed a little bit, honestly. Like, I'm happy that I got to meet them as people before I got to meet them as potentially famous people. But, out of respect, we did get them signed. And that's super cool. I was gonna do a fan comment. You can win a signed I don't want to come off of mine, though.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to mine.
All right,
no.
cool. So
no.
That's out the window. But
if you want to sign, go fucking meet them somewhere.
Yeah, go meet them or buy a DVD from them, man, because it's really good. I'm pretty sure if you just find them on Instagram, which is the Slow Mutants, or you can go to their website, www.slowmutants.com.
Maybe they'll sign and send it.
Maybe they'll sign it and send it. Just say you came from the J Squared Horror Podcast. And we're going to obviously tag them a lot this week on any of this because we'd love for them to watch and enjoy our episode on their movie.
Hopefully they do. Hopefully
they do.
You enjoy it, yeah.
What other parts of the movie did either stood down? I mean, you mentioned your two biggest gripes. I only had the one, which was the one thing.
Yeah.
So.
Honestly, I feel like that is it. Also, this is a minor thing.
Oh, here we go.
Maybe it's just me just missing it.
Maybe, yeah, go.
The radio DJ?
Yeah, the girl?
What was her point in being there? Or she's like, because at first I thought,
she was the reasoning behind the possessions.
Yeah, I thought that, or is going down like an anthology vibe, like Bad Candy.
Oh yeah, like Bad Candy, because they had the two radio hosts in that one. Yeah,
I thought, nope, this isn't it. So what the fuck you doing there?
Yeah, what was the point? I mean, she was pretty. I didn't mind. Yeah. I didn't mind the way she looked. She also had a sweet jacket on. She had a great voice.
She did, yeah.
But maybe there's plans for a second one.
Maybe if they make a Bad Candy 2,
they could tie in with Hellband.
I was gonna say we be in it.
No,
so we could.
It would be cool
take over
if Hellband did another one and we could be in it as radio hosts.
You think they'd do a part 2?
I don't see why not.
I feel like it ended good enough.
No, it didn't. The world ended then.
Okay, that's kind of like what's it? Cabin in the Woods.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
What I would like to see is, and I like when places do this where they make other movies, but use like the same cast.
Oh yeah, like those guys from all those funny movies, like what was it? Like Lizard something?
What?
Lucky Lizard or whatever. Remember the fucking
No idea who that is.
Yeah, you do. It wasn't horror, but
Lucky Lizard?
yeah, it was the fucking like Beer Fest and like Super Troopers and all that.
You seen me Road Trip?
Yeah, I've seen Road Trip.
That's such a good movie,
It's
dude.
hilarious. Is that
That
the one where
is
the
such a good
brother and
fucking
sister
movie.
make out?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the absinthe.
That's such a good movie.
Yeah, guy gets all the passports stolen when he's getting some head.
I don't know why people like this is super random, but
Typically on the J Squared
Yeah.
Horror Podcast.
so people love Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, I do.
Okay, you're one of them. Okay,
Ryan Gosling a little bit more.
any role that he is in, I always see him as Van Wilder.
It's because of your envy.
Man, what he's in,
Your envy
he's the
of him.
same fucking character. He's not a good actor.
You don't have to be when you're Ryan Reynolds.
Well,
He was way different in Amityville Horror. First of all, he was amazing in that movie.
okay. So 9 out of 10 movies, he's Van Wilder. The one he's not.
It's horror, so I respect the shit out of that.
Okay,
Deadpool's a little different.
no, it's not. It's not at all.
It's not different at
It's
all.
literally Van Wilder with a costume on.
Van Wilder that can't die.
Yeah.
You're right. He's done some other stuff, all right? Don't be hating on my man, but Ryan Gosling
Too
is
late.
better. Ryan Gosling is better. I agree.
Ryan Gosling,
I love him. Come on, bro.
he's also not a good actor.
He's a very good actor.
He's very generic.
No, he's not.
He's good in The Notebook.
That's a terrible reference of his acting abilities.
No, it's not.
It is. What's
What's his best movie then?
Probably. I don't know. I can't think
Yeah,
of it.
let's keep talking about Hellvan then.
Hellvan's better than any Ryan Reynolds movie. There, how about that?
Besides Van Wilder, obviously, 'cause that's what made him.
It was based off of Burt Kreischer. Bet you didn't know that, did you?
Is that legit?
It's a fact. His story was stolen from him. The role that he plays is Burt Kreischer. It's a fact. He had piloted it to movie companies.
Wait,
They stole
Wait,
it.
Van Wilder?
Yes. That was Burt. Yeah.
I
That's a
don't know.
fact. Burt
Oh.
has talked about it on Two Bears in One Cave.
This means it's true.
You can't lie about something like
Why
that.
not?
Because they can be fact checked. We can't. We don't matter enough.
Yeah. All right.
It's true. It was based on his college years because he was in college for like 7 fucking years and all he did was party.
I don't.
It was dramatized,
About to say,
obviously.
the same suaveness Van Wilder had? No.
Yeah, Burt probably did. Burt still pulls.
Because,
People love Burt.
because he's famous.
No, he's a partier. It doesn't matter what you look like as long as you can toss back some.
I feel like to an extent it does matter.
I don't think so. Maybe he looked better back in the day. We don't know what he looked like. He probably wasn't always fat.
Okay, that's true.
You
All right.
know, partying will make you look like that. That's for damn sure.
That is 100% true.
Yeah, he looks like he partied. All right. Well, the episode's not over yet, but what would you rate this movie on a scale from 1 to 10?
On a scale from 1 to 10, I would give this movie a 7.
Damn.
Yeah.
Nice. That's crazy because I had a rating in my head, right? And I was
Yeah.
like, oof. If Jake's anywhere around it, I'll be cool. Like, I don't want to feel like either a dick or like I'm giving it too much. So my honest, as soon as I realized that the episode was getting to this point, I was like, all right, let me go ahead and think of it. I was going to give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we are right there.
We are,
close
yeah.
together. Yeah. Yeah, this movie was great. Like we said, please support these guys, the Slow Mutants, Hellvan. Buy a couple of their DVDs. Maybe reach out, see if you can get them signed. It's super cool to have that in your repertoire, or not in your repertoire, in your DVD collection. I'm probably going to put mine in my actual horror collection. This will be an invite people over and watch this movie for the very long future. Now let's just for a couple of minutes here talk about the Tidewater Horror Convention, man. We've obviously mentioned it a couple times during this episode.
Okay.
Holy shit. Tidewater Horror Convention. Can't say enough about you guys being the most friendliest people I have ever met whilst doing anything in the horror community. and accepting and helping and being there for a, very small podcast. We appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, it's just a little podcast.
Just a little podcast, as we are so told.
You know what, though?
What's up?
And the most important part that I took from this convention was networking.
Networking, yeah.
Building other small businesses.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And helping them grow.
Yes.
And for those people who are larger businesses.
Yeah.
And do not want to help small businesses grow, shame on you.
Shame on you. Shame. But I will say this weekend was an absolute. It was just an insane experience.
Ton of fun.
We were accepted and got to party and got to have a good time.
I am all about a good time.
We are all about a good time, and I think that conveys on our podcast. But it also it's kind of crazy that it conveys so much to random people that we've never met before. That could potentially be the owners or a lot of big people in this convention. It was crazy. We're not going to go into crazy detail because you had to be there in order to be there, and we were there, so it was a lot of fun. There were a couple people that we met. So it was boothed out, it was roomed out, obviously. If you guys have ever been to a horror convention before, but we lucked out, man. There were some complications where we had first set up, but we got through that, and then we set up in a room very close to where we originally wanted to set up, which was great. I think the foot traffic was amazing, but honestly, we probably got put around some of the nicest and coolest individuals that I've ever had the pleasure of sitting around for fucking 30 hours straight. There's a guy from. Can you hand me that box right there?
Yeah.
I really wanted to shout this guy out because I did not deserve this at all. Valen Hith Productions. I hope I said that right. He was sitting across from us. You guys can't see that at all. He was sitting across from us, and that's when that camera gets super confusing. For all of our visual fans right now, you're getting to see some cool shit. For all of our listeners, I just showed the label. Hopefully, I said it right. But what he did, I walked over to his table because sometimes we had little nulls where we can just kind of meander around, and I saw these coasters, and I heard him mentioning earlier that he did laser engraved coasters, which I was like, holy shit. That's amazing. And I was like, dude, I pointed at our logo and I was like, not this one, but our new one. And I was like, do you think you could do that? And he did. And he did it for free. He made us 2 of them. And they look amazing.
They do.
There's something that we're probably going to sell later on down the road. So for all of our viewing, look at that, dude. It's on like a rock. It's on like slate almost. And it looks great. You can see our definition. You can see our logo. He did this for free for us in the hopes that we could work with him later. So if you guys can, go look him up. If there's anything you like, if you like D&D, I know he does a lot of stuff for that. He also had this amazing mummified hand that was an absolute hit this weekend. The T-shirt lady that was next to us, I cannot remember the name of her company.
Like Sophia.
Sophia. If you go check out Sophia on Facebook, there's some exciting things coming out, but she also does some really amazing stuff. It's called DTF Printing, and it works very well. We bought 4 shirts ourselves.
Yeah.
All weekend long. She does really cool designs, and if everything works out properly, I think she's going to be our new T-shirt person from here on out, which we are super excited about. I cannot remember the name of the lady that did the fucking custom rugs. We didn't grab a card of hers, but she did amazing work too.
Like Michelle.
It's like Michelle, Victoria,
and another
Michaela or something like that, or
Michaela,
something like that. It was like MVM.
Yeah,
it might be MVM possibly.
It could be. Yeah.
And she's fairly local to us too. So any of our local fans, look her up as well. She was a sweetheart. It was a lot of fun, man. It was a good time. We got a lot of cool stuff. We got to meet. We got to network. If anybody did meet us at the convention, and this is the first episode you're listening to, and you made it all the way to this point, that means you do like us and you are enjoying our commentary. Please comment down below if you're enjoying our podcast. That would be great.
Yeah.
We met a bunch of you. Everybody was so receptive. Everybody was so nice. Only got a couple fuck no's from a couple of old heads, but it's all good, man. It's all good in the hood. It was funny because, some people would they'd come up to the table and I always had like a shtick, as you guys could possibly imagine. Josh liked talking. I did too much. I did too much talking this weekend. And I would hit you with hey, do you like podcasts? And if you said no at the beginning, I was trying to why, Towards the end, I was sick of it. But what I realized is no matter what I said, they would have to give me a reasoning behind them not liking podcasts.
Because they would say no.
And I'm like, okay, cool.
Just hover.
Have a good one.
Well, I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Clearly you have time because you're now standing here talking to me. No, everybody, seriously, everybody was so great. And did you have a particularly favorite store, person, experience, anything like that from the Tidewater Horror Convention?
Yes, I can't really remember the name of the store off the top of my head, but we met Amy and Jesse.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other cards on hand. It's like something, but check this shit out, guys.
Yeah.
We have a fucking Gizmo on the podcast now. I haven't found a seat for him yet. Actually, you know what, Giz? Come hang out on the podcast, buddy. Your little head showing. Yeah, they were super great. These are sensory dolls, I do believe, as they're called, or there's something along that line.
They feel so good.
They're weighted. So if you have any discomforts in the world, or you have a struggle sleeping or anything like that, I'm pretty sure you can hit them up and they can get you some amazing products. They are now friends of ours through this convention. Damn, where did I put that box of cards? Shit, I have them in our box of cards, which really sucks. I'll share them, or I'll share their name when we post this episode, because I'm pretty sure I can find it pretty quickly.
Okay.
Now that we're not in this studio, everything's a mess. Yeah, they were super great. Obviously, we got that put on the podcast, donated to us, so that's super cool. I hugged him once and I fell in love. So Jake does not get to keep him. He's on mine. I got Giz. So yeah, he's great. Yeah, man, it was great meeting them. So that was your favorite group?
Yeah, definitely was. Yeah,
they were great. Also, what was James's company's name?
Oh, I can't
Damn
remember.
it! There's so many great people that we met this weekend, man. I wish I could shout them all out, tag them all.
Gave us the Prince.
Hey, that guy. No, I was talking about
I said, and
the guy that gave us the Prince. Yeah. Oh, so anybody that is interested, we will be doing legitimate. Not that they were illegitimate before. We didn't have enough participations. We have to have enough people to participate in these comment things for it to be worth it to us to be sending out free shit, because we have to pay for shipping and whatnot. So in the near future, keep an eye out on our social medias, on our YouTubes, on all that. We're actually going to be sending out some autographed prints from one of the coolest guys and an amazing artist. We'll be sharing some of his work as well, because he was so nice to us for no reason at all. So yeah, the convention was a lot of fun. All the people we got to meet, to everybody that came out to see us, thank you so much. You guys know who you are. If you couldn't make it out, we understand. Life's busy, and $25 is too much for some people. Times are hard, and for those of you that came out, we appreciate it. For those of you that stopped by our table and just let us talk to you about our podcast, everybody that heard our concept seemed to really dig it. So if you've stuck around this long, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, no idea what we're covering next week, because this convention has kind of changed everything for us as far as content right now.
We'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I do. I'm a fucking idiot. We have another guest next week. My bad. We are gonna have our number one fan on our podcast.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have our number one fan of the podcast on the podcast, because we are the most inclusive podcast out there. My older brother, Ross, is going to be on our episode. We are going to be going over Human Centipede, which is going to be exciting, but he's going to be live in person on the podcast. We are super excited to have him on. He has really geared up as being our, not because he's my brother, but because he enjoys our content. Because if you know anything about brothers or sisters, they can really be mean about the things you're doing. And he listens. Yes,
true.
He listens religiously every week, texts us every week, comments on our videos. He's been super supportive. So what better way to show that we appreciate him than to have us on the podcast? But just a heads up, you might not be able to tell our voices apart next week, so all of our audio listeners are going to have a world of fun.
They do sound very
because Jake
I've been with them in person. They do.
Jake says we sounded like, he said when we all went to go see Scream 5, he thought I was talking to myself.
That's what it sounded like. It did.
Most of the time. But yes, we are super excited to have Ross on. Ross, thank you so much for A, agreeing to come on, B, taking time out of your busy schedule to come on, but also picking the episode idea. It's going to be a lot of fun. Human Centipede with Ross, our number one fan, next week. Give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. We are excited. All right, well, that's the episode, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you for coming to the J Squared Horror Podcast. My name's Josh.
And I'm Jake.
You guys have a great week. And remember, it's hip to be squared.